Hello and welcome to New York Sofalites. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Rachel. I am here with Gretchen, and we are here today to talk about our very serious opinions on unserious topics. And today we are here to do a little mini check-in on the Oscars race. It's heating up. We just had the Critics' Choice Awards, the PGAs, and the DGAs, and we have lots to talk about. But first, some news. I feel like first we have to cover the top story of the week, which is Lilac the dog still with us.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. I totally forgot because I've told a story so many times. It wasn't in my head. Lilac the dog, lovely little Lilac. She is a husky mix. I don't know if I mentioned. I know that I have mentioned that she's my foster dog. Was supposed to be adopted this past Sunday. It did not work out. Within a couple hours, she was back with me. It was not her fault. It was just the owner wasn't quite prepared, and she's with me still, which I'm not upset about. I love her, and she's currently sleeping in her crate with the door open and being quite angelic. So
Oh,
she's,
good
yeah,
dog.
yeah. And Ruby's in her crate too. Rachel's dog, Ruby, who's a
All
permanent
the
resident.
dogs.
Yes, they're all in the crates.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so happy that Lilac is back. I know that we talked about this, but we're like not so secretly hoping that she will just become your
Yeah.
dog.
I'm kind of secretly hoping that too. I did talk to the foster people. They're like, it was an emotional weekend. You can take a little bit of time and you can do some more leash classes. Because once you adopt them, they don't have the same structure of like the leash classes and stuff. So they're like, let's just give you a couple more weeks of leash classes, and then we'll support you with whatever you want to do. I'm like, sounds great. So
Yes, you
here
need to
we
get
are.
those free leash classes any way you
Exactly.
can.
Exactly. And I got a whole big bag of dog food out of it because Lady gave us a bag of dog food. So that was
That's
a silver
great.
liner. So
She was
we
like, I bought this dog food, but I am not prepared for this dog.
she's like, I gave her a little bit of food. It's open. I can't return it. Here's this big bag. I'm like, great. I just ordered a new bag, so I canceled it. It was perfect.
Oh
But
my God.
yeah. Yeah, it was quite an emotional weekend for us all, but that's all right. We have leveled out again, I think, and she's doing well. So
This is
thank you
what
for
can happen
asking.
in a Mars retrograde. I just, people are retreading old ground, and sometimes things come back to us because they are meant to.
Yes, and that actually makes a lot of sense because this woman had had a husky before, and I think she just perhaps wasn't ready to have a dog again, and a lot of emotional stuff came up from losing her last dog, maybe. So I
Um,
if that's part of it. So retreading makes a lot of sense here. So
reach.
so
But
second
speaking
big
of
news.
retreading, this is a
Yeah.
great segue.
Yeah.
This is the second biggest piece of news this week, and I could not be more elated to talk about a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot.
Yay.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is attached, Chloe Zhao is attached. I don't
Mhm.
totally know how I feel about that. Like we could be getting
Mm.
like amazing Academy Award winner Chloe Zhao, or we could be getting Eternals Chloe Zhao, and that's part of the fun. We're gonna find out.
Okay. I like this. So I will say, um, Rachel was when we were younger, we know each other since we were about 3, as we've mentioned. Or I was born, Rachel was 3. Or 2 or whatever it was. But Rachel was always a Buffy the Vampire Slayer stan or fan. And I didn't get
Always.
into it. Yeah, I didn't get it or get into it. It was too scary for me because I was a little bit younger and a little more sheltered. So I didn't get into it until I was in my 20s. But I am thrilled. And Rachel is the connoisseur. She knows all the knowledge. I am so happy for Rachel and for all of us that this is happening.
Oh my
So
God, I could not be more thrilled. Like truly, the aughts are back, and like here we
yeah.
go. I hope that they don't fuck it up. I know that like a lot of people have been concerned trolling this particular project,
Mm,
but I feel like Chloe Zhao is just a fan, and I love that for us. And I feel like the only person who can do it justice is a person who's a true fan
yeah.
because they're not gonna want to mess it up. They know how important it was to all of us millennial people
Yeah.
growing up in the early 2000s, and I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar still looks amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Like, honestly, like James Marsters, the guy that played Spike, literally hasn't aged a day.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm very hopeful that like other Buffy participants will become attached and it'll be like
Yeah.
a family reunion.
That's interesting. Maybe he is a vampire after all.
It's totally possible.
But yeah, I am really thrilled about it. I One thing that I love about Buffy the Vampire Slayer that we doesn't get mentioned enough is it tells you how important libraries are and how important librarians are. And
Yes,
yeah. And I think we need that right now. So,
more than ever,
yeah.
quite honestly. Like they literally saved us from being swallowed up by hell once and they will do it again. So,
Yes, exactly. You need them. You need the
yes.
Watchers, you need it all. You need the books, you need everything.
You need the
So,
books, you need the vampires, you need the slayers. I just,
yes.
let's go.
Let's go. I'm excited. So,
Uh, and also retreading old ground. This is like a real Mars retrograde podcast today because taking us back to the even earlier aughts,
mm,
the Backstreet Boys are going to be in residence at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and like
yes.
it's too perfect.
I know. Even earlier aughts, meaning late 90s. Yes. And
Before the aughts, there were the 90s.
I am excited for that. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for everyone who can see them now. I think they're there for all of July, it looks like. Maybe a couple more outside of that. So
I'm gonna see if I
hopefully,
can go.
I know, I would totally go too. So hopefully we can make that a trip. That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. We could podcast live from our hotel
Yes.
room in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Even if we don't go, maybe we'll do it anyway and pretend that we are because you won't know the difference.
Yeah. We'll do the freshest review coming off of a Backstreet Boys concert if we do go. So that would be great. Yeah.
Oh my God, so thrilled for them. This was just like the culmination of so many things because they did one of those like cruises a few years
Oh,
ago. Do you remember like a
no.
true like a has-been cruise? Like you would go out of like one of the like crazy ports in Florida and you go on like a 3-day cruise with the Backstreet Boys.
I did not know this. Oh,
And
wow.
like this is something that like has-beens in many different fields do. I think now that like they're all old, the surviving like WWE wrestlers do this.
Okay.
You can go on a cruise boat with like Chris Jericho.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Chris
this is
Jericho. That's a name I haven't heard in a while. Wow.
well, exactly because he's been working on this like cruise thing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I'm so happy that they've
Good.
graduated to Las Vegas residency. They very
Yeah,
much deserve it.
they do. They really did a lot for us in the 90s. I know they hopefully got their share of money. I know Lou Pearlman is a dick, as we all know, but nonetheless, they did a lot for all of us. They brought us a lot of joy. They brought us a lot of crushy videos that we all loved.
They
And
brought
yeah.
us bucket hats.
Yes.
They brought us those yellow tinted sunglasses.
Yeah. AJ.
AJ, they
Yeah.
brought us the giant wide leg pants.
Yeah.
Which
They
brings us to, I guess, maybe like the actual top story of the week, which is the Celine jeans that Kendrick Lamar was wearing at the
The
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl, yes. I honestly, because of the whole drama on Sunday with Lilac, I did not watch it live. So I was dealing with how to get her home and getting her reoriented, but I know all about it. I watched the necessary parts, meaning the halftime show. I know I'm not a football girl, I know. But it was quite amazing. I those
I
jeans,
loved it.
those
Loved
jeans
the
did a lot of work.
jeans.
Yeah. I love Serena Williams doing the crip walk. Loved it.
Yes. I loved that moment for her. She seemed like genuinely just chuffed to be there, and I was
Yeah.
so into it.
Me too. She was great. She looked great. She was like, "Yes, I'm down to do this and I will nail it." And she did it. Yeah. I loved it.
Yes. And
So,
I got a lot of points in my house for being the only person in the room full of millennial people who could like confidently identify mustard.
oh, interesting.
So, yeah, that is the other gentleman, the DJ that was performing with
Yeah.
him.
Wow, you called it. Wow, that's amazing. See, you are on top of all the trend. You know who everyone is. Yeah. Self-alite. That is a real self-alite
That is a
move.
real self-light move. I don't know everything, but I can almost always identify mustard. But no, what totally took me off guard was Lady Gaga's performance before the Super Bowl. I didn't see that coming, and I was so thrilled.
Whoa. I know. Lady Gaga. I'm glad that she's back doing things out in public.
I know I should have known because she had an album dropping that this week or this past
Oh
week. So
yeah.
like
Yeah.
we should have known. But I feel like we got caught up in like how crazy the Grammys was and like the Beyonce narrative. I feel like we forgot that like Lady Gaga is equally a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So happy for
I
her.
know.
Happy for all
Yeah.
of the wigs worn on that hot, hot day
Oh
in
my
New
gosh.
Orleans.
Was it hot? I didn't pay attention.
I feel like it must have been hot because a lot of the people who were not like dressed for a specific like thing were wearing
Oh,
like clothing that made it seem like it was hot.
you're right. You're totally right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I just assumed it'd be like kind of cold, but no, it's New Orleans. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Taylor was wearing her like, that like
Yeah, tank
ill-fitted
top.
white bodysuit and the
Yeah.
sparkly jorts and whatever. She was having a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure she wasn't having a great
Well, she was
time,
having a great time probably, but yeah, she was doing okay, except for that part where everyone booed her. That was awful.
that was so sad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not her fault that her
No,
boyfriend is terrible at football. They really were like I thought they were better at football.
I don't really care, obviously, but my friends who are down here, weirdly enough, in LA, they are Eagles fans, weirdly. And so I did go to an Eagles bar in El Segundo, which is in LA or outside of it, and it was nuts. I didn't go on Super Bowl day because that would have been crazy. But they're like people probably would have been burning mattresses like they do in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and the places
It's
that we love.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pennsylvania sports fans are
nuts.
insane.
Well, I gotta say, I love Pittsburgh. I love Philly. But I don't know, like they cling to it so hard. And I'm like, guys, these people are not from your town. They're not like they're just
No.
they're just colors. Like I
They
don't know.
don't have anything else,
Yeah,
really.
I
I mean,
know.
in these Rust Belt towns, it's like you got to give them something to hang on to.
Yeah, that's true, I
I
guess.
feel
There are
like I can
many
say this in a non-pejorative way because I also live in a Rust Belt town that
I
like
know. Well,
has
that's
been
my
vacated by industry and now we care about really stupid things.
well, yeah. And I mean Pittsburgh and Philly have wonderful things going for them, but yes, industry is not one of them at the moment. Pittsburgh does have some pretty good technical stuff happening because of CMU. But beside the point, I did want to mention. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, whenever I go through the Philadelphia airport, everyone's always decked out. They're so excited. I'm like, you know what? You guys can have it. That looks like fun. But yeah, but the one sports thing that really annoys me, and let me get back on track, is when LA wins at hockey. I'm like, you guys do not get hockey. You get everything else. You have volleyball. You have things that we
Volleyball.
can't do. Well, because like you can't do sand volleyball in the Northeast or Canada. Like let the Northeast or Canada have hockey. Like that's the
Wait,
one thing that we have.
is there professional beach volleyball in California?
Hell yeah, yeah,
What? I had
yeah,
no idea.
yeah. Like the Olympics and stuff.
Oh, but that's
I
not
mean,
like
like
professional.
no, but I think they're professionals. I'm pretty sure there's professional surfers. There has to be professional volleyball
That's a good
players.
point. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, I guess this is proof that we, in fact, do not have that in the Northeast.
Yes,
We
yes,
certainly do have a lot of hockey.
yeah. So I'm like, leave the king. The Kings can just if they win that Stanley Cup again, I'll be pissed. It's been a while since they won, but I'll be pissed. So, anyways,
I will
Super Bowl
also be
fashion.
pissed now that I'm aware of the
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. What the heck? Like, just let the people from Canada have it. People like
Let
near
us have
Canada.
it. Let the cold
Yeah,
weather people have it. We need
yeah.
it.
I know. You guys have everything else. You have surfing. We can't do surfing. But
No.
anyways, so other fashion moments at Super Bowl that were of interest.
Oh my God. I mean, the what I'm told is called tunnel looks, the tunnel fits. I
Hmm.
don't know what
Yes,
tunnel. I didn't see anyone like being in a
because
tunnel, but
I do know that because they go from like the locker room to the locker room in a tunnel
oh,
underneath.
okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then out. Yeah. So
Fair enough. But I mean, obviously, Travis Kelsey, just the picture of hubris showing up in his
I
Amiri
know.
fit, looking like an extra from Boogie Nights. I think
That's a kind of his look. It's like either
has that
really
always
cool.
been his look?
Well, it's either like really hard Gen Z, even though he's not Gen Z, like with the bucket hats and stuff,
Oh,
or
yes, he loves a bucket.
like 70s. He's like always like being a 70s or a 90s person, I feel like.
This
But
was like, he looked like he was auditioning to star in a biopic about the Bee Gees.
which maybe he should be in. Who knows? But
Maybe, because he's certainly not very good at playing football, but
oh,
it
is he
was
gonna
like,
retire?
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I feel like he and Taylor have been pretty quiet this week,
Mm-hmm.
understandably so. And that, well, she had to like clap back at Blake Lively and then she was quiet. So,
Oh, she clapped back at Blake
well,
Lively.
it
I
wasn't
missed
like a
it.
full clap. It was more like a little golf
Like
clap
nudge.
through
Oh,
a source close to Taylor who
oh.
said that Taylor was feeling a little bit used by Blake Lively
Mm.
because she referred to her as a dragon. Um,
Oh, that's right. She's like, I'm Khaleesi and Taylor is my dragon or whatever, and someone else was your
yeah.
dragon. Yeah.
And like quite
Yeah.
honestly, like I don't know if Blake Lively missed all of Game of Thrones, but like Taylor is Khaleesi,
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
quite obviously.
Like I feel like Blake Lively thinks is a type that like thinks she is Khaleesi in all situations, but I could be
Blake
be
Lively is fully borderline, you're right. She has no idea. Also, she
Oh my
definitely
God.
did not watch Game of Thrones.
No, she had someone recap it to her later, probably. She just knows from pictures. But anyways, I don't think she'd want to be Khaleesi if she, anyways.
If she knew what
But
happened in the end.
yeah.
No
But
spoilers.
no spoilers. It's been like 12 years, but still no spoilers. Devonte Smith,
Oh my
awesome.
God. Devonte Smith
Yeah.
was my MVP of the tunnel. I thought that
Yeah.
he looked like a full model. He was on the
Yeah.
winning team, but if he had lost, he could have had a second career as just like a
Yeah.
model. He looked amazing.
You know what? I say get out of it before you have too many concussions and just start modeling. That's what I say, Devonte Smith.
That is
Do
a
it.
great point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Free advice
Hopefully.
from us, Devonte.
Give us a call. We'll give you more if you want. But so who else? Saquon Barkley? Barkley?
Saquon Barkley, yeah,
Yeah.
I loved the all denim look. It
Yeah.
was yeah, it was like an all black or very dark denim look, and he looked fantastic. It was from a label called Sassafras, which I guess is
Mm,
Japanese. Here's what
nice.
I have to say from the watchdogs of the fashion journalism world. It was almost impossible to find out who these looks were by, like which designers dressed
Interesting.
which players.
Yeah, I was shocked that you found that. That's really good work, but interesting. Wow.
Yeah, no, like do better. Like I don't know if it's just that like the boys are new to being like fashion girlies or
Yeah.
if like sports journalists are not used to having to cover fashion and vice versa, but
Yeah.
it just, do better, everyone. Couldn't
Yeah.
figure out who Devonte Smith was wearing.
Start
Um,
asking the football players who they are wearing, like you ask all the girls. Like, come on.
yes, they would love to tell you. They worked
Yeah.
hard on those looks,
Yeah. They're very proud of themselves, I'm sure. So just
ridiculous
ask them.
though they may be.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce would love to tell you that he stole his from the set of the short-lived Stars series Minx
Yeah. Jake Johnson lent it to him from his stolen closet.
from his
Who knows?
personal collection.
He would
Oh
have
my
loved to talk
God.
about that. Start asking the guys who they're wearing.
It's
But
very important.
yeah,
Also, DeAndre Hopkins in his father's mink that he inherited was just like
that's amazing.
the most heartwarming moment of the tunnel,
Yeah.
and I loved it. He must have been sweltering. Everyone else
I
had
know.
their jackets off and they had
Yeah.
like cut off sleeves, and he
And he's
showed
like,
up in
"Nope."
his vintage mink, and it was a moment, and I loved it.
I love that. Yeah, it was great. And I love
He
that
may
he was
be
like, "I'm
new to being a fashion girly,
yeah.
but he is here to stay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He made a statement and he will keep watching. I want to keep seeing what he does. And I love that he's like, "I'm not taking it off until someone asks me about it. So, I'm going to keep wearing it." But
So strong.
yeah, love it. And then halftime show, obviously those bootcut jeans have been the talk of the town, so to speak.
Quite honestly, although I will say that even though he probably just put them on for the first time right before that show, I already noticed a little fraying on the bottom.
Oh, really?
Well, I had to zoom in to figure out what shoes he was wearing, which were some kind
Okay.
of like vintage Jordans. And when I zoomed in to look at the shoes, I noticed
Oh,
that like they're already starting to get torn up in the back. So, you know,
wow. So maybe he did, maybe he must have done rehearsal in them, but
mm.
yeah, that's too quick for them to be falling apart. But yeah, Rachel with the detective work, I didn't even notice that, obviously. But Celine should not be fraying that quickly.
No,
Mm-mm.
that's true. Like, you know that these jeans cost many hundreds of dollars. And
Yeah, yeah, totally. And then his Martine Rose jacket, interesting.
yeah, no, I loved the jacket. It had all of
Yeah.
this like very special significance on there, stuff about the album title and song titles, and I love everybody in like a custom piece when they're going on stage. Like this was like a true like a Grammys performance, which
Yeah.
was so cool for the Super Bowl. Like it was very obviously choreographed for TV, which I thought was
Hmm.
awesome, and it made it look really different from like other halftime shows that we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That's a
normally
good
they kind
point.
of they look like you're watching like the Olympics opening ceremonies or something, and it's
Yeah.
like this was like very professional dancers and like not too
Hmm.
many people crowding. It had nice movement. They used the space really well. The
Yeah. Yeah.
cinematography was really good. I thought it was really striking, and it was one of my favorite Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah. Such good points. And I mean, do you think that we're still trolling Drake too hard? Or think he deserves it, knowing him?
I've kind of come around. I feel like because everyone was pointing out all of the other like little dog whistles and symbolisms and hidden
Hmm.
meanings, whether how true all of that stuff is or not,
Yeah.
I feel like we've all kind of like accepted and normalized the Drake bullying and have moved on to like the other significant meanings
Yeah.
behind the performance. So
Yes.
I don't know,
Yes.
I kind of came around on it during the performance. I won't lie. It felt like a very nice, significant moment during a Super Bowl. So I'm willing to let it go, but
Yeah.
this is temporary until trials start, and then I
Yeah.
reserve the right to jump back on one side or
Yes.
another.
You're totally I will honor that right as much as you need. But no, I think that the significance of performance was so much bigger than that. I don't think it was all about Drake, obviously. Um, but yeah, everyone's kind of like pointing out that Serena Williams used to date Drake and like she came out and I'm like,
I didn't know that.
yeah, I think it was very like loose. Like I don't feel like there was a real relationship there. I don't know like, I mean, obviously, what do I know? But I mean, he also just like asking a cool, powerful black woman to come perform. Like, does it have to be about Drake? I don't know. I don't know. But
Yeah, it could just be about a cool, powerful black woman.
yeah, we could just let it be there, that, and let it go. So, then that like jerk that was on the TV said something. That jerk that was on the TV, so specific. But like some sports commentator was like, oh, she was out there and she's married, but she's like trolling her ex. And if like I don't know, he said something like awful, like if if I were a husband, I'd say go back to him or whatever. It was just weird. I'm
Ew,
like, yeah, I know.
that's so toxic.
I know. I know. I was like, guys, how do we
Oh
even
my
know it's about
God.
Drake? Like just leave it alone. But it was about something bigger than that, I think. But anyways,
Yeah, no, I
Samuel L.
think it was
Jackson.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Samuel L. Jackson in a custom bowed look, which like I like why, first of all, but I loved it. Like it
Yeah.
was unnecessary, but it was fabulous.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was so great. I loved him there. I loved that he just showed up and I was like, "Oh, all right, we're doing this for real." Yeah.
This was like a very star-studded Super Bowl. Like I
Yeah.
didn't realize how many celebrities were like actually involved in like parts of the Super Bowl. There was Tom
Yeah.
Cruise there for a minute? Like
Oh, really? I missed that.
I feel like a lot of people were there. Obviously, Bradley Cooper was there, John Hamm was there. Like
They're everywhere. I don't know. Just like they're everywhere.
that's
I don't
true.
know. I don't know how they get around so many places.
I
I
feel
don't know.
like Bradley Cooper like really somebody needs to check on him because in the run up to the Super Bowl, he was in New Orleans in a food truck serving Philly cheesesteaks for like a week before the Super Bowl.
Because he's from Philly. Yeah, that's right. he went
But
to my
like,
dad's high school. That's a lot though. Do you have to do
oh,
that? Not at the same time, obviously. But like, does he have to be doing that? I don't
well,
know.
exactly. Like, I just feel like he did not win an Academy Award in any of the past 2 years when he like really was working hard on that. And I feel like he's a little bit broken and now he's, running a food truck, I guess. But like, you know, get back
Well,
at it, Bradley.
yeah. Or maybe he's just chilling, taking a break. But yeah, you're right. I think maybe he's a little butthurt about that.
He
And
absolutely is. It's sad for him. He shouldn't have worn the schnoz.
I was gonna say, what did you expect? I don't know. Like that was not a great look in many ways. So,
Is
yeah.
also
Well,
fine.
we know he loves Philly. He's done a movie about Philly. More than
Yes.
one, I think. And he's from there, the outside of it, not in Philly, but maybe he's just having fun. Who knows?
So yeah,
Yeah.
he can take the week to celebrate the victory, but then he has to get back to work and
Yeah. Keep doing stuff,
yeah,
obviously.
keep
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah, maybe just team up with Lady Gaga again. Maybe that's just what you need. I don't know. But
Yeah. Oh, they were both there. It could have been what a missed opportunity.
oh, guys, you missed it. And
She
but
sang the
he's
song from Top Gun Maverick. I'm sure that wasn't good for Bradley Cooper's mental health.
oh. He was like, "What the fuck, Lady Gaga?
Thought we had
Stephanie,
something.
Stephanie, I thought we agreed." Oh my God, that's so
Poor
funny.
Bradley.
But I know he is very self-serious about his stuff, though.
He
So
is.
he needs a little time.
He's such a striver.
But
Anyway, we got to move on because it's been a big week over
hmm
on the awards front.
hmm
The Critics' Choice Awards, which we'll get into, took place on the 7th. Also, the Producers Guild and the Directors Guild Awards, which I don't know if these awards are really good, like at portending what's going to happen at the Oscars, but they definitely are part of the Oscar campaign because they take place before like the before Oscar voting even starts.
yeah.
So we know who the winners are before we start voting for Oscar. So it's definitely an important part of the campaign. But yeah, you watched a little bit of the Critics' Choice Awards. What was your impression?
Well, I just saw some clips. I think it was mostly I was being presented to clips on the internet that were about Adam Brody and Leighton Meester because they were very cute.
I love them.
I know that was so cute, and he had a really nice speech and was so kind to her in that, and she was so proud of him, and it was really sweet. Um, I also thought Demi Moore's outfit was, I don't know if I loved it or hated it, but it was like
Oh,
that. Did you see it? It was like this
of
hourglass.
course.
Okay,
And I was
yeah.
like, I'm so glad that Demi Moore's boobs won a Critics' Choice Award.
I mean, her boobs look great. I just wasn't sure. I don't know. I don't know what, like, something about it was like not quite right, but at the same time, like her body looked crazy, like in a good way, but like also like tiny waist and big boobs, like obviously very manipulated, but like it was really cool. I don't know. What did you think?
I thought that it was a good example of what we've been talking about all season about like the theme dressing. Like
Yes, yes.
it was
Yeah.
definitely a substance themed gown. It had like the corseting up the back that was kind of
Yeah.
reminiscent of like, when she
Yeah.
has to like sew
The
up her
spine
spine
thing. Yeah,
cavity.
such a good point. Yeah.
It had, the highly manipulated waist and
hmm
boobs and it was not like a costume piece, but it was definitely like a little bit more avant garde than I think we see a lot of people wear to
Yeah.
award shows. Like it wasn't like beautiful and like feminine and like that,
It was
you
very
know.
severe. You're right. That's a really good point. That it was very substance coded,
So
and
I
it was
liked
very
that.
severe. That's a really good point. Yeah, because it wasn't pretty per se, but it was interesting. So,
And yeah,
um,
her body is banging.
yeah, I know. I'm like, dang girl. But I mean, then what else did we see that we liked?
I mean, I think the big headline was Honora winning Best
Yeah,
Picture, which I
yeah.
am thrilled. I loved Honora. I think it was like kind of a sleeper. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Like Amelia
hmm
Perez was making a lot of noise, and then The Brutalist was just so fucking long, and people like, I think people forgot about Honora except for the critics who, they loved it and I loved it, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm gonna be hoping to watch that and The Brutalist this week, or next week. Sorry, I'm gonna try to. I'm
Yes.
gonna see if they can. They're still in theaters in LA anywhere. I missed it at Culver. It was like playing near me, and or The Brutalist was, and I missed it. They just closed it up, which is a bummer. But I'm gonna try next week, because I would love to see them in the theater if possible. So yes,
Yes,
them
people
on my
should
pick.
see movies in theaters. I had to
Yes,
watch Honora at home because I have two small children and I
yes,
can't always go to the theater,
yeah,
but I loved it. I love Sean Baker. I just love his commitment to showing us the lives of sex workers at every single
yeah.
socioeconomic level.
That's
I
such a good
think it's
point.
it's such a brave project.
Oh, you
I
know
love.
what? I actually saw him at a like local coffee shop. I didn't know it was
Oh,
him, and then when he left, someone was like, "That was Sean Baker." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." But yeah, that I just remembered that when you said that. But yes,
well,
he's
if you see
great.
him again, please tell him that I really appreciate his
I
work.
will.
It just, yeah, I mean, I loved the Florida Project. I was like a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
here and there on Red Rocket, but I loved Honora.
yeah. I'm not too big on like that type of movie, Red Rocket, where like the teenage girl is like overly romanticized as like the savior to the fucked up guy. But I loved I loved, what was I gonna say? The Florida Project. Yeah, I was thinking Spring Breakers too, but yeah, that's not it.
Yeah.
The Florida Project. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he got a lot of shit like in that part of his career as kind of being like the poverty porn guy,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that, when you give him a big enough budget and
Mm-hmm.
just let him do what he does, you get Honora, and it was
Yeah.
probably the most fun of all of the like serious best picture nominees for me.
Yeah.
So,
I think there's definitely, from what I've seen of like its themes and its tone, there's a lightness to it that is like obviously it's not an all light movie from what I know about it, but everything else seemed very like heavy. So I'm really happy that it won. And
yeah, he has a good way of like striking a balance there where like there were
mm-hmm.
very funny moments. Like I laughed out loud several times at like
Yeah.
just, moments in this film. And also like it starts out like the opening set piece, the backing track is a Take That song. And I was like,
No.
as soon as it started playing, I was like, let's go. This is going to be a great time.
That's amazing. All right, I'm excited to see it. I'm gonna try to see if it's in theaters anywhere still in town. But yay, awesome. And then Adrian Brody, who also, because I'm following a bunch of dog shelters on Instagram right now because of my foster dog, he was at the Pasadena Humane Society yesterday,
Oh,
I believe, holding all the dogs. So that was sweet
oh,
of him.
that's
Yeah.
so nice.
And he also won Best Actor. So he had a nice week, I guess, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that sounds like he had a good couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah, yeah.
He's I'm so happy for him. I
Yeah.
thought that he was truly spectacular in The Brutalist. It was such a different performance than I've ever seen from him. It was
Okay.
just like it was a really just like achingly beautiful performance.
I'm excited to see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so I'm
sounds good.
so thrilled for him. I think
Yeah.
that he's absolutely my front runner for best actor at the Oscars, but you know, we'll see.
Yeah. Do you want to mention how Oscar voting works? Because you told me this and I had no idea. Um,
Yes.
so is it that everyone votes at first for nominations? Is that how it works? Or is it the other way around?
It's the other way around. So when they do the nominations, everybody nominates within their category. So like
In the
as
Academy or
in the
whatever.
Academy, yeah,
Yeah.
actors nominate actors and directors nominate directors, sound editors nominate sound editors, that whole thing. And then once they have the nominees, then everybody votes for the actual awards.
Yeah.
And it's consensus voting in all of the categories except for Best Picture, which is rank choice voting.
Mm.
So everyone puts all of the nominated films in their like choice or in the order that they like, you know,
They're
one
best to
being the
worst, basically.
best, yeah, best
Yeah.
to worst or
Hmm.
worst to best.
Yeah. Whatever they like
Um,
to.
which it could fuck some things up, quite
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
because of it
Interesting.
being such a disparate field. So, you know, other notable moments from the awards over the weekend, at the Critics' Choice Awards, John Chu won for Best Director,
Oh
which
yeah.
and this is how we know that we can't really take the Critics' Choice Awards seriously, but we're glad that they happen. Uh, no other real surprises
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But just really wanted to shout him out because
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a one at the Golden Globes and done. So I'm happy
Yeah.
that
I was kind of surprised about that too, to be honest. But
I guess if
yes.
he was going to win one, it was going to be the Critics' Choice.
Yeah. And then Zoe Saldana. I'm kind of thinking she's on a roll and might get the Academy Award, but we'll see. Yeah.
She might, I mean, she's certainly having one of the strongest campaigns.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
So,
for
and I
sure.
feel like not that affected by the the crazy tweet gate
Carlos.
of Carlos
Yes.
Sofia Gascon,
Yeah. Poor
which
so poor Selena Gomez is like, "Oh, that's what you think of me? Okay." But yeah, nothing really has touched Zoe Saldana. So, yeah.
poor Selena Gomez, she's collateral damage. Although I think that in Best Original Song, like she still may end up getting her flowers a little bit because,
Yeah.
you know, it's
I would love
nominated
that for her.
twice and she didn't write the song, but she performs it, and I think that that may end up. It's not like I don't think it's a good song, but like I don't really think it's a good song.
We are going to talk more about this when Stephanie's around because she's got differing opinions on Amelia Perez, and we want to
Yes.
pick it
Okay, so
apart.
we'll save the Amelia
Yeah,
Perez.
yeah. But
Um,
I would love to see Selena Gomez win an Academy Award for something. That would
for
be
something.
for quite the redemption. I would love that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. But
Um,
yeah. Any last things we want to talk about? Because maybe we get into the scandals a little bit more next time because they're related to Amelia Perez too. But
yes, there definitely, I feel like there's hasn't been any new scandal, which is great. And I feel like
mhm.
this is kind of, I feel like the vibe in the air is that people are a little bit more clear-headed, which kind of, is reflected in the winners from these early Guild Awards. Um, no surprise that Honora and Not the Brutalist swept the
Yeah.
PGAs because I don't know any
Yeah.
producer that's, really gonna vote for the Brutalist, but
That's a good point. Yes.
and it's
But
interesting
Enora won
that
everything. Yeah.
yeah, I think that people like Sean Baker, right? Like that's the
Hmm.
vibe that I get.
Yeah. The Directors Guild. I'm not surprised that he won because I feel like he's kind of like, I don't know if he's like a director's director. I don't know much about filmmaking, but it feels like people like him, but he's hits the right balance of like um kind of it's uh, mainstream isn't the quite the right word, but digestibility that like kind of
Hmm.
works for people. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, overall, like things feel a little bit less fraught now. And Oscar voting just opened when we're recording this.
Oh,
Um,
okay,
it will go on, it began the 11th and it will go on to the 18th.
okay,
So, really everyone's going into voting on the heels of this past weekend's awards and kind of, I feel like Honora will feel that bump because of
yes, yes,
recency bias, because of, how good everything this past weekend has made us feel. I do feel like we will feel that in Academy voting.
yeah.
As long as nothing crazy happens in the next week.
I'll tell you what I see if I see a lot.
Yes. Let me know. Be our eyes on the ground in LA.
I will.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's a tight, tight race.
yeah. There's no clear front runners. I feel like.
No, like it really could be anything. And I think that like, the people who are going to vote for Honora number one, like what are they voting number two? And
Yeah.
because all of the films are so strong, is that like splitting of the number one vote gonna cause some upsets because, things that were number two and maybe even number three on people's ballots are gonna get that bump from having like
Okay.
the number one spot be so split.
That's a good point. Wow. Okay. Interesting. I didn't think about that.
So we'll see. We'll keep abreast of the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know that like I really believe that these awards, all of the Guild awards, are a really good like you know way to predict what's going to happen at the Oscars. I like to go on vibes, but but we'll see. I'm excited.
I mean, vibes, I think with especially with you, it vibes are a pretty good measure of what's gonna happen. So I wouldn't discount those.
I'd like to think I'm pretty intuitive.
Yeah. I agree. I think you are. And
So,
I'll let you know if I hear anything in the ether out here. Not that I hang around with filmmaker types, but I can try. So
but when you
yeah.
see Sean Baker at the coffee shop, just like listen to his conversation and see if you can give us any insight.
I will. I don't know if he's ever come back there. It's also like a weirdly located coffee shop. I'm like shocked. It's a very cool place, but I'm shocked that anyone was there. So we'll see. I don't know why he was there, but if I see him, I'll try to listen in. So
Perfect. Ear to the
yay,
ground.
I'm gonna
And yeah,
try.
next time we will give you guys a deep dive on Amelia Perez. We'll get into some of the other Oscar narratives and our thoughts about those.
Yeah,
Please send us an email at nysofalites@gmail.com if there
yes,
is anything you want to know or you want us to know.
yeah,
Um, please follow us on socials at nysofalites on Instagram, and
hmm,
we would love to hear from you.
yeah. Anything you want us to talk about, anything you don't want us to talk about, happy to hear. So
If you want a midweek update on Lilac the dog, we're very happy to post some pictures. Maybe we'll post some pictures of her on our socials this week.
yeah. All right, I'll do my best. Yes, that would be a good idea. I think I have been taking more for her personal account, so I'll send some over. We'll
She's such
we'll
a
figure it out.
celeb.
She is. She's pretty and she knows it, and she is a little bit of a she's being a little bit of a brat this week. She's not supposed to get on the bed, and I turned around yesterday, and she's just sitting there like with her bone, just chewing it, and I'm like,
Oh,
I see what you're doing, but all right. But she's very sweet. Yeah.
yeah. You gotta let her
But
on the bed. She just wants to
I
snuggle.
know. If I adopt her, she's just gonna be on the bed a lot. I think. But the only problem is she doesn't know how to handle it. It's like she'll start digging, and
Oh
so I have to be
no.
like, okay, you can get on the bed when you're calm, and then we can do it. So, but yeah. Anyways, all right. Thanks for listening. Excited to do a deep dive soon, and yeah, everyone have a good.
Have a great week.
All right.